has hooked me up on this little computer that we are recording everything. And
we think we are.
We think we are. Yeah, so today is kind of nice because we have a lot of seasoned veterans in here too. So we're going to go over a few like kind of shopkeeping. We're going to go over some issues that are kind of interesting in terms of like the due diligence that we're requiring everybody to do. We're going to go over the market. So, last year we made a prediction as to where the market's going to be. So far, it seems to be on point for that. We're going to go over how it's doing in Massachusetts, how it's doing in Norfolk County, Plymouth County. And then I also created a report on each individual town, because when you get in front of your sellers, typically they don't care what Norfolk County is doing, they want to know what Situate is. So, but for the purposes of today, we're probably not going to drill down into each town and go over everything because your eyes would roll into the back of your head. But it is there and it's available for you if you want it. Okay. The other thing is we have Mark Stiles from Stiles and Associates joining us today, and he is going to go over a lot of the sort of crystal ball type stuff in the real estate market, different issues that we're dealing with. So today is going to be kind of a free-for-all after I get through the market stuff in terms of questions I want to ask you, Mark wants to ask, and vice versa. So feel free to raise your hand, do whatever you want to do today. It's kind of an open forum or town hall meeting, as Mark said. Yeah. All right, but why don't we just jump right into it a little bit and see if it worked out on this thing. I'm going to bring this up just because this is the 30-year fixed mortgage rates over the last 5 years. Okay, and as you'll see, it started out in 2012 around 4.5 points, and then it had a heavy drop into 2013. Went up a little again in 2014, but it's on a nice steady decline over the last couple of years. All right. Some of the things that I'm going to go over with you today, I believe, are completely fueled by these low interest rates. Okay, we are experiencing a very, very busy market in every single way, and we don't have the snow of the winter of, what was that, 2015, I believe, to slow us down anymore. So we're at normal market conditions, and with these interest rates as low as they are, it seems like it's not going to stop, okay? And after the jobs report that came out, was it a week or two ago, it doesn't appear that the Fed's going to be doing too much to raise rates anytime in the near future. So expect these rates to continue, and if these rates continue, expect the market to just continue to get hotter and hotter over the next year and a half, all right? We'll revisit what happens 2 or 3 years from now in a year. So anyway, that's the mortgage rates. Back. Don't go back. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at Massachusetts and just look at the market in general.
You remember how to go down on the back?
I just want to go up.
That's the only file that's there.
Oh, no. That's a problem.
That's the only one you had.
Nope. Okay, so numbers.
Right here?
Yep, there it is. Okay. All right, can everybody see that? It's going to be a little difficult. The numbers are kind of small. All right, but I want you to get used to this format. Okay, it's sort of a dashboard, and the reason I take it and look at it like this is everything that you really need to know about the numbers in the real estate market is all in this one little format. Right? It's not totally pretty, but it'll give you everything you need. It'll be like a dashboard. And what I do is I look at, in this case, a 4-year time period. So I look at January 1st to June 15th for all of these given years going back to 2013. Okay? And the categories that I'm looking at, and in the red columns right there, the red numbers, that is the percentage change that we're seeing in the market from one year to another. Okay, so that's how you sort of predict where things are going. So in any particular town that you're about to list a house in, I want you to go in, find the town that you're thinking of, and literally study this for about 5 minutes. If you do, you will learn everything you need to know about that specific market. And when you're talking to your clients, it'll just naturally flow out of you. Okay. So the categories that we look at are number of listings sold, average days on market, let me put a little asterisk on that. Have you guys noticed how they're changing the reporting on the MLS to how many days to offer, which is a little bit more accurate? Unfortunately, they haven't been doing that long enough for us to change it on this report to that format because it means 2012, 2013 won't work. Yes, John? What are they doing with contingent?
14 days.
Automatically?
Automatic.
Okay.
I think it's great for us.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
That reminds me of another topic.
Send that out.
Okay.
Line it up.
So the other thing is average sale price. All right, this is very important in terms of the value of a given market. All right, right now we're only using average sale price just because it's the only way to sort of get a gauge as to what's happening with house prices. Obviously, the average sale price is not totally accurate because let's say you have a house in Duxbury and a $10 million sales happens, that can skew the numbers a little bit, raise the average sale price a bit. But in general, it's a pretty good barometer, and if we look at it over 4 years, that has a tendency to really help us stay accurate. Okay, so you want to look at the average sale price. You want to look at the total market volume, all right, which is basically the number of houses and what they sold for, added all up into a giant pile. All right, it allows you to kind of take a look at every single market and understand: is it a hot one? Is it a slow one? We don't know, right? And then lastly, inventory levels. This is something that I added to it. When you see inventory levels, picture it like this. It's like a snapshot, okay? So in this particular case, I take Massachusetts and I look on June 15th in 2013, and this is how many houses are for sale, okay? And I do the same in 14, 15, 16, okay? And what I'm looking for there is just active listings, right? And these are all residential houses, so I'm not muddling up this with condos or anything like that. So this is all just single-family houses across the board, every single town, just to give you a gauge of what the residential market is doing. Okay, so that's the dashboard. And then as you go across from year to year, you can see the percentage change, and that is really your talking point. So obviously, you can look at the numbers and go, okay, yep, average sale price is $419, but really what you're looking for is what's happening. Okay. So in this particular case, we'll take Massachusetts as a whole, and you'll note that the number of listings sold dropped pretty precipitously in 2014. In 2015, that was the year of the gigantic winter snow. And remember, we're looking at a time period of January to June. So if it snowed like it did and we had snowpack till May, that really affected the numbers, and you'll see that in some of the towns. But in general, we are up this year in Massachusetts 21%, 21% hike in the number of houses sold in that time period. All right, the days on market dropping. Right, that's a sign of a healthy market. You want to keep seeing that number dropping. Okay, so now we're at 10% drop in the average days on market. The sale price really didn't move that much so far in the first part of this year. You know, you'll hear reports out there that the real estate market's up 4%, 3%. The number's really never that gigantic when we look at Massachusetts as a whole, because you get out in the western part of town or part of the state, and it tends to drop a little. Total market volume up 21%. Right? Inventory levels down 16. Now, when I go down to my talking points, all right, you can do this, and I did this on every single on every single one. Okay, so when you look at these charts, you want to look at it and go, okay, what is this? An analysis that compares the time period of the first part of the year from January to June for 4 years. All right, number of listings sold. It's constant during the 4 years, condition and weather notwithstanding. Huge surge in sales this year. Days on market, just like we talked about. All right, so all of your talking points are right in this part of the hot sheet. All right, so just go over it with yourself before you meet with your people, and then just tell them what's happening. Okay, but when it comes to inventory levels, one of the subjects I want to talk about is it's been so crazy out there that there's almost been kind of a thought that's not really true out there. And if you're working with buyers, this is what's going through your head. You just feel like this is awful. There's not enough houses out there to sell these people. Or you're showing them stuff and there's like 6 or 7 offers on properties and you can't get it accepted, right? There's very little doubt after studying all this stuff. This is one of the most difficult times to work with a buyer, right? It's just percentage-wise, it's a hard shot. Conversely, working with a listing, is the best thing that you can possibly do. Okay, it's like shooting fish in a barrel right now. All right. So, but what is happening is this: people have a tendency to think there's less houses going on the market, right? But so far, in every single town I looked at, and in the state of Massachusetts as we're about to look at and see, there is definitely the same amount of business going on, actually more. Okay, so the thought was if inventory levels are so tight, people just aren't putting their houses on the market, and that's why it's so furious, crazy out there. Then the natural thought would be the number of sales will drop, right? But that is not happening. Okay, so what's happening instead is the inventory levels look so small all the time, but it's because the market is so ferocious that everything's just going on and going under, going on and going under. And so you've got the same amount of business going on plus 10 or 20%, right? So, for us as realtors, it's fantastic because, there's no excuse for doing poorly right now. The market conditions are such that you should be able to really, do well out there. In terms of inventory levels, it would be really bad if not enough people were putting their houses on the market, and that was choking the number of sales, and that affects your income and affects everything. But that is not the case. So when you're explaining it to your clients, there's been a hesitancy, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, but where people are nervous to put their house on the market because they don't know where they're going to go, right? Age-old question, we deal with it all the time. And it is difficult. I mean, you'll sell their house in 2 seconds, and then the challenge is finding them, what's going on. But you have to fight that mislabel of this market that there's just not enough houses to sell people. There is the exact same amount of houses going on that is normally true in this area, plus 10 or 20%, okay, depending on the town that you're looking at. So you just have to explain to people, yeah, when you look in the MLS, there might be only 15 active listings at that moment. But if you look over a 3 to 4 month period, which is what you're going to be doing, you're going to have plenty of options. They're just going to go on and disappear, on and disappear. So don't worry about selection. It's there. It's just kind of invisible right now because the market's so fair. Okay? You understand that whole concept? All right. So let's go back to the chart that we were looking at. Go to Mass. I just want to make sure I did this one. 4-year analysis.
That's what we were just looking at.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
All right. I just want to make sure that we got that all set. All right. Yep, we do. All right. So let's go to Norfolk County.
Can you just point it out?
Mm-hmm. Should we use this? No. Is it alphabetical?
Yep. Right here. You just had it.
I did?
Yep.
There. That's Norwell. All right. Give me Plymouth County.
Norfolk County.
Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So let's go over Norfolk County just to round out our discussion. Okay. So number of listings sold. Norfolk County, we had a drop of 10% in 2014. In 2015, it went up about 4%. And 2016, look at that number. The number of listings sold roared up 17% over the previous year. The average sale price, or the average days on market, dropped 8%. Again, a very healthy thing. Average sale price went up 0%, which is interesting. And the total market volume went up 17% as well. Inventory levels dropped. Okay. So when I look at something like this, I mean, I want the average sale price to be rising too for a totally healthy market. But that's Norfolk County. Let's go to Plymouth County. There it is. Yep. Now, a lot of you in this room work in Plymouth County. All right. You'd be happy to know that Plymouth County really is roaring right now. It is doing really, really well. If you look at the 4-year change in the number of listings sold, generally selling about 1,800 houses a year in Plymouth County. This year, it went up 29%. So we're at 2,262 halfway through the year. The average days on market dropped 12% just this year alone. In 2014, it dropped. I mean, look at those days on market. You know, if you think of Plymouth County, you always think of Plymouth, right? Now, Plymouth is a huge town. Lots of listings in it. The average days on market in 2013 was 140, and it's already down to 112. And if you consider Plymouth County with, it's always been like a 6-month market down there, but it is literally getting chopped in half slowly over time. Total market volume was up 34%. Inventory levels down 17. All right. So Plymouth County is having a very nice little run. One of the things I want you to talk to your people about is new construction. All right. This is the kind of market where new construction has got to catch fire. I mean, there's just not enough inventory to sell people. We all agree on that. The prices are there. Okay. And I went back because this was such a fever pitch type of number that I actually looked at 2006 and 2005 numbers, and we are actually above where the market was when it crashed. Everybody was talking back then, if you think of 2005, remember everybody was talking about the bubble, these prices can't sustain, everything's going to be a mess. But we are well beyond that right now, and you don't hear bubble talk now, do you? I haven't heard anything like that at all. As a matter of fact, everybody just keeps thinking it's going to be steady and strong for the next few years. But the reason I mention this is there were a lot of people that bought land who got caught, right? And there was a period of time where the only advice you could give a builder is don't even put in a foundation, you're going to lose money. So just leave it alone. But if you work with builders or people that own land, it is time to get on the phone and call these people and let them know that the conditions are perfect. If they can build a subdivision right now, it will go. And they will get the numbers that they need to get. All right, so remember that because we can only get a certain amount of people to sell their houses, right? So that is when new construction has a tendency to really kick in. Okay, so that's Plymouth County. Let's go into Marshfield since we're here. Yep, right here.
Fun.
Yep. Okay. So Marshfield's number of listings sold went up 21% this year. Now, one of the things I want you to keep an eye on if you're looking at these is don't forget that winter. I've mentioned it a couple of times now, but if you look at the winter of 2015, the sales dropped 11% in 2015 because Marshfield really got walloped with the snow. But this year we're up 21%, so we're up to 110 sales so far this year. The average days on market dropped 14%. The average sale price actually is off this year, which is very interesting, right? Sometimes if you see that, if you're drilling down into one particular town and you notice that even though it's super busy, the average sale price has dropped, don't forget, sometimes we get a run on the low end, it's called, where you have a whole bunch of houses that just happen to hit the market in the 200s this year, right, in the first part of the year. So if you see that and it doesn't jive with your head, that's your explanation if a seller asks. Conversely, if the number is a little higher than you think, then it was a run on multi-million-dollar houses. So just a little mental note for you in terms of talking average sale price. Total market volume is up 15% this year, and the inventory levels are down 22. Okay, so that's it. For these charts, this is just something I want you to go through on every listing that you take. All right, they're available. You can put them right in your CMAs. Christine usually adds it to Cloud CMA for you now that they're done. And they're called mid-year activity reports. And it kind of studies 4 years. So does anybody have any questions about the way these are laid out? No? Everybody good? Okay. And then the talking points are at the bottom. That's the thing I want you to read before you go over it. It'll just train you to narrate these things properly. Okay. If you have any suggestions on things that you want to add to it, just let me know. Again, every town will be available after today. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to just touch on before we bring Mark in
Another town?
is, nope. Did you all get my email of a couple of weeks ago about the due diligence? Did everybody get that one? Right? It was very interesting because, got a lot of back and forth from people on that subject. Okay. Things like the building department versus the assessor's department. Okay? Just remember the building department is the governing body on all this stuff. So don't just rely on the assessor's department when it comes to anything really. Measurements or anything. They literally have that thing of they just look at what they see. Okay? It does not officially mean if they call it a 4-bedroom to the assessor's department that it's a 4-bedroom home. You have to check septic. You have to do all those sort of things. Okay? So, and we're going to get into a couple other things later on when Mark is done. just in terms of kind of the old fun, goofy stuff like ghosts. What do you have to say about ghosts? You know, do you have to say? Do you not have to say? So we're gonna have a little round robin discussion on what's going on out there in terms of things that we have to say to people. Okay. So that's it in terms of the market stuff. So let's go to Mark Styles for the rest. Chris, you do not want to record me. You don't want to record me.
Well, I would love to, but I don't think we can.
Okay. Legally?
Hello.
No.